This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last class, we just created your GitHub account, and also we are able to create a repository inside that, right? And also we are able to clone the repository back to our local system. So now what you want, like we have to add some kind of files, and I would like to push to my GitHub account with using some kind of commands, and I'm using some kind of syntaxes in here. So let me open my GitHub account. Okay, I think I did not logged out. I closed my window. That is the reason it directly came up in here. So this is my repository I have in here, where I just try to clone, and I believe, did we push it? No, right? So this is what I have in here. So this is the kind of code I have with respect to my GitHub. So now what I want to do, I want to clone this particular repository, web app name repository, to my local machine. So how can we do that particular part? So we can do that by writing command git clone and the URL of what we are trying to clone to a local machine in here. So how can we get this URL? By going to my code in here, and you can see the URL in here. So we just copy the URL in here, and you can write on the command line within your local system within your command prompt. But to write down your git commands, what we have to do, we have to install your git CLI. Without installing git CLI, we cannot go ahead and run your git commands in here. So git, and what is the URL? Git clone, and you can post your URL in here. But if you do this one, what will happen? Your web app.git or web app repository will be downloaded or cloned to your local system in the path like on the del folder in here. So which is not, I don't want to have my things to be cloned within my C drive in here. So I would like to have my things cloned to my D drive. So where it is, like, go to D drive, training, under my git, I would like to have my things coming back in here. Okay, to my git in here. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to copy the path where I want to clone it. C, and here, instead of doing this one, I'll try to navigate to my D drive. Yeah, now I would like to have my things clone in here. So what is that? Git clone and the URL. So let me copy one more time the URL you have in here. Hit on enter. So it's trying to clone your web app, your repository to your local machine in here. It's done. Come back down here. I can see my web application was created on February 28th on 8:43 a.m. in the morning. So when you double click on this, you can see README file, the same code page what you have readme.md, and within that you should be seeing your web application in here. So if you double click on this, you can see the same web app in here. Okay, so now what I want to do, I don't want to have this particular file in here. I want to delete this. So now what I want to add my new files in here. I want to add my code in here. So how can you add it? It's very simple. Right click on the repository where you are into. Go ahead and try to create a text document and say sample. And inside this one, we can write down the things like, saying that this is a sample file, or something like this, or from your local machine. Okay. And go ahead and save it and exit. So this is what I did it. So I'm add my own code in here. Now what I want to do, I need to push this particular code to my remote machine. So once you add a new file in here, it doesn't means that your things will be uploaded automatically in here. Even though when I refresh my page, I can still see my old thing in here. So to have your new code or you to have the things what you have within your repository, exactly what you have in here, to reflect that within my repository level, we have to follow a few things. So what is that? The very first command I have to follow something, git add file name or git add dot. So this will, what it will do, it will try to add all the file names what you're trying to push to my next level. So here, when I say git add file name, so what actually happens in here? Or when I say git add dot, what actually happens in here? So in this scenario, now currently you are in local. You have local repository, and what we have done, we already have a sample.txt file in here. So when I say git add file name, the file names what you have, what you mentioned in here, will be pushed to my one intermediate area where before pushing to my main cloud, before pushing to my main GitHub repository in here. And that intermediate area is called as my staging area. Staging area in here. So this particular area, what it will do, it will contain all the files which need to be pushed to my next level or to my repository level in here. So git add file name or git add dot, this will help us to push your file from local repository to my staging area in here. So this is like, it's a kind of a pre-confirmation before you pushing to my main cloud. So now once you add in here, this is all the list of the files which need to be pushed to my next level. So is it like, are you confirming this particular part to be pushed to my cloud level? If yes, then what I'll do, I will try to go and say that git commit. Commit means, what does it mean? It means that whatever the things I have in my staging area, what are the things I'm having in staging area, I'm trying to say it's confirm, and it confirmed to push the file to GitHub or to my remote repository, in here. So git commit. Commit means I'm trying to confirm it that yes, what are the things I have in my staging area. I'm trying to confirm that I'll be pushing for sure to my remote registry in here. Okay, so you confirm it. Very good. Then what I want to do now? Simply git push. So git push means what will happen now? What are the things you have in your staging area? So these things will be pushed to get GitHub repository in here. Will be pushed to my GitHub repository. Okay. So this is something, the process we have to follow. So what we have to do, we have to say git add file name or git add dot. Dot is means what are the things you have in the particular folder, each and every pinpoint I want to push to my remote registry. So all these file names, all the things what you have, what will happen, all the files what you have in here, so will be moved to my staging area. So this is like my intermediate area between my local repository and my remote repository in here. Okay, so this is the area where you're trying to confirm whether you want to push all the files to my remote repository or you want to push that back in again. So to again here, so to make sure whether all the files what I mentioned in my, the folder has been really is in my staging area or not, to confirm that or to see whether the things are added or not, we have a syntax called as, called as get status. So this will show us, all the files which are available in the staging area. Show us all the content in staging area in here. So if you want to, okay, after seeing the list in my staging area, now you thought that, okay, I don't want to have all those things. I want to push my things back. I want to push my one file or back, or I want to revert the things again in here. Then yes, we do have the syntax for that. How can we revert the things back to my local system again, removing everything from my staging area? So I'll show you while executing the commands in here. Okay, so git status helps us to understand what are the controls you have in the staging area. So you can see this one only after when you're trying to add something with respect to my with respect to the file names to my staging area in here. So after think, okay, I'm looking good, my things looking good in here. Yes, I want to confirm that this is the list I want to push it. Then say git commit with some comments saying that okay, code added or something like that by using writing like -m and within double quotes some comments in here. So with this one, what will happen? What are the things you have in the staging area? You're trying to say I'm confirming it to push the file to my remote repository in here. So this just for confirmation, but you haven't pushed your things yet. So finally, after confirmation, what you do, you say git push. So this will what it will do again. What are the things you have in the staging area will be pushed to my GitHub repository. Okay, so this is the process you have to follow. So let's go ahead now. As for my things, I have my sample.txt added within my web application. So now what I'll do, I will try to go and I will try to say git add. So before going to say git add, let me see git status. So here, not a git repository. Okay, yeah. So why it's saying that it's not a git repository? Because where is your repository? It's in now this particular path. I'm into currently I'm into up to D drive and git in here. But where is your repository? Where do you see your sample, all those things in here? So I have to navigate to my folder as well. So cd space, hit an enter. Now I'm at actual folder. Now let me run the same thing, git status. See, when I say git status in here, it says that this particular part has been deleted. So this is untracked. So it's not included. So you have to include this, what will be committed in here. So it's trying to say that this will be deleted and this has been added, but no changes added to commit in here. As of now, there is no changes to add. So to add it, we have to run the things git add in here or git commit some other kind of alternative way you have here. So let me go with now the very first type. After having your files placed in my repository, go in here and say git add and the file name, or I said dot. If you enter this one, now go ahead and try to see your staging file status. See, now it says, now it showed something else, changes to be committed. So what is that? This readme.md will be deleted and sample.txt will be the new file will be added in here. So this is like this is a staging area in here. So now again what I told you, I don't want to push this particular files in here. I want to send my back to my local system again. So I don't want to see anything within my staging area. Then see, they're trying to provide you the syntax as well. Git restore hyphen stage and provide the file name. What are the file name you want to have in here? So try to provide the file names in here. So try to go with the same thing and I said dot in here, or you can also say sample.txt whatever you have in here, or simply say dot. You turn enter. Now it went back to my local system. When if you go and check it out now, git status again the same old thing. Nothing has been changed. No changes had to commit in here. That means everything went back. Nothing to commit to my remote registry in here. So again, make the changes as per your requirement, and again you can go ahead with your git add in here, git add dot. Now it's been added. Go and check your status. Yes, I can see my things now. This is what will be happen with respect to your remote registry. Are you okay with this one? Yes, I'm okay. I'm trying to commit this particular changes to my GitHub repository in here. So how can you commit that? By writing the comments git commit -m and provide some comments in here. Going back, git commit -m and provide some comments saying that code added and hit on enter. See, now it says that two files changed, one insertion will be done plus and one deletion will be done minus. So I'm committing it. So it's been confirmed. Yes, with this respect to these two files, what I have in here, one is in delete mode, another one in create mode. So this is just for confirmation purpose. Git add is just for adding the things in your staging area, and this is just confirming the things what you have in your staging area. And finally, after confirmation, what I want to do, I want to git push. Git push means then my things will be committed from my or pushing from my staging area to my GitHub repository in here. So go back and try to enter the same thing. Git push. Hit on enter. So it's trying to push the things as expected with respect to my things what happened in here. After getting push in here, come back here, refresh your page. See, I can see my sample.txt, and inside that I can see that this is my sample file and local machine, and I don't see my readme file at all in here, right? So this is like how you can make the things happen. So what is syntaxes you have to follow? Git add, git commit, and git push. These three syntaxes help us to move forward in here. Okay, so now for example, somehow they made some changes to my code within my repository level. So this is something like I'm trying to add. This is like this line added in GitHub repos. GitHub repos in here. So I'm trying to add new line within my cloud level. So going down, commit the changes. So it's been committed. So within my local system, when I refresh my page, within my local system, I can see only one line. But within my cloud level, I can see two lines in here. So I want to push this particular part, or I want to pull this particular new content what I have in cloud to my local system. So how can I do that? So what is syntax for that? So to pull, or to pull my GitHub content back to my things in here, do you use clone back, clone again? Not required. So clone you'll be using for the first time because you don't have the respective things within my local machine. For that recipe, you try to use clone for the first time. But once clone happen, every time when you see a change in your cloud repository, and if you want to pull that back to my local system, so you use a command called git pull. So this will what it will do, the contents or the current contents in GitHub repository will be pulled to local system in here, to local repository in here. So let me say git pull now. Go ahead and say git pull. So I can see one file change in here. So see here, there is a sample.txt and there is a two insertions happen, something like that. So go back down now, refresh your page, double click on it. See, now I can see my updated code what I have within my remote registry. Okay, so this is all the process you can follow. You can run the things with respect to my local, with respect to my Git CLI in here. Okay, so any questions, guys, up to this level? Cloning first, adding your file names, later on git commit, git push, and git pull, and of course you can add one more, your git restore, and the file name what you have in here. Yeah, you can add it here. File name if you want. Sends back all the contents, all or few files, sends back all of few files to local repository. Based upon what you mentioned here. If you simply say dot in here, then everything will be sent out. If you mention the file name separate with a comma, then only few things will be sent out. So based upon how you go in here. So git restore, sending back all the few things to local repository from stage area, from staging area in here. Okay, so this is the the kind of things what we have in here. So this is the third one, git status. You can just for checking for status. Fourth one, and commit, and is the sixth one, and finally also have a seventh. Git push, git pull, git commit, git restore, git status, git add, and git clone. So these are the few of the basic things we have in here. You can clone the things and you can do whatever you want with respect to your remote and your local machines. Okay, so this is one of the thing you have with respect to my GitHub. The other part you have, one more thing, we can have the same thing again. What is that? Cloning, again adding the file names, and the kind of committing the data and pushing or pulling. So you can do the same old stuff with respect to one more kind of tools in here. So till now, so we have done the things. Let me list out the things. In a clone, second one, add the files, third one, commit the files, fourth one, push your files, and again we can pull the files in here. So these commands you have done using what? Using your git CLI. Now I would like to go with one more new to kind of it's almost related to my GitHub only, but in a separate, in a different kind of manner you have in here. There's nothing but my GitHub desktop. GitHub desktop. So what is this one? So to have your things with respect to Git CLI, you have installed, you have downloaded from your Google and you install within the system in here, right? So when I say Git CLI download, you went to take a download, so get in here, you downloaded your CLI, not working. So you go this for Windows and you download it and you install it into a system so that you can run your git CLI commands in here. But now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to do using my GitHub desktop. So this is different and this is different in here. So git CLI, to make the things happen, what we have to do, we have to run the commands in here. You have to run the commands, but within my GitHub desktop, it's not to run the commands. It's just something like kind of a Windows system what you do in here. So it's kind of a Windows system in here. So just double clicking on that, or it's like a user interface in here. It's like a UI. It's kind of a UI in here where it will try to show you the the button for pull. It show you the button for your push. It will show you the space to write the commands. It's everything is like it's a kind of user interface in here. So it's very more, but much more. You have to run the command. Say this is what I want to do. I have to run everything using a command line in here. But this is something like a UI. Is exactly equal to the earlier we use Azure portal and we use Azure CLI. So what is the difference between those two? Azure portal is something like it's a user interface over there where by seeing the options what is available, just click on this or choose the options from your drop down list, all those things, right? It's nothing but your user interface. Similarly here as well, GitHub desktop is a user interface to have all the same part in here. We have the same part in here. Okay, so let's see that particular part. But to have your GitHub desktop to run in here, you have to download your GitHub desktop. So Git CLI is different and GitHub desktop is different. So till now we have downloaded Git CLI but not your GitHub desktop. So how can I get my GitHub desktop in here? So I can go the same thing, GitHub desktop download for Windows. So click on your GitHub desktop. See, straightforward, Git download for Windows 64-bit in here. Okay, when you click on this one, you can go ahead and you can download it directly and you can simply install it. So don't make any changes to the things in here. Go ahead directly and install your GitHub desktop. So why do we require this purple color things in here? Because I want to go and I want to do my things with the help of my user interface in here. But I don't want to run my things using my commands anymore. I want to do using my user interface. It's exactly equal to portal level what you have earlier to create your virtual machine, all those things in here. So once you install it, so you can find here, see GitHub. See, I can find the things in here. So you can open it. So you either can open from here or go to the repository back in here, using this one, go in here, and when you see the code level, within the code level, you can see open with GitHub desktop. So when you click on this one, automatically, if your things are already installed in the system, that will have to open up within your local system in here. But since this is already cloned for me, I don't want to use this particular repository, so I'm trying to go back to home. Click on this cat here. So now I'm trying to create a new one. I want to go and create something, GitHub underscore desktop underscore rep, something like this. Okay, so go into public, add a readme file and create your repository. So now okay, no problem. Somehow it did not create my readme.file in here somehow. So anyway, not a problem. So you can see here something, the kind of URL in here. So again, what you do, you can clone the things. You can open a GitHub in here. So let me add a code. Let me go back to the code. Yeah, sorry, it's there. So it's showing you some other page in here. So when you click on the code, I can see my readme.file and I can see my everything in here. So go click on the code in here and now try to open in my GitHub desktop. So when you click on this, it says that you open up in your system, guys, or else it will never opens you. So if nothing happened, download GitHub desktop and try again. Yeah. See, my GitHub desktop has been opened. Now, earlier, right? You have cloned your repository using the URL. But before cloning it, what I have done, I have navigated to the path where I want to clone my repository. Correct? So I have navigated to my D drive, and in this particular D drive, I wrote my clone things in here. My URL on everything in here. My syntax to clone my repository in here. The same thing in here is also happening. See, it's showing you this is the URL where for your repository to be cloned to my local system. And the local ready, not make a change. The changes in for me. So for that is I to click on clone. So see, it's cloning. Earlier you wrote a command line for this one, but now it's a straightforward like a user interfaces. When you hit on clone button, automatically my cloning part is happening now, and it will try to create a new folder within my this path. And see, I can see my new folder got created, and within my folder I can say readme, and within my readme I can see my GitHub rep in here as usual. So it's looking good for me. To go open is, yeah, it's looking good for me. So now this is the user interface. It is showing you if you add anything now, see zero changes files added. If you add anything, the things will be listed in here. So this is the place where you can commit it, and see, you can the bottom you can see commit to main. I'll tell you what is main later on. So you can see the commit button in here. Understood? So now again, let's go ahead and try to add some files in here. Okay, I'm trying to delete this file. It's not required for me, and I'm trying to add a new file in here. Something like GitHub repos, for example. Just file name and double click on this one, and this is the demo for Git desktop. Go ahead and save it and exit. So I have added a removed readme.md file in here, and also I have added a GitHub new file in here with some kind of code inside. Now open your GitHub desktop. I can see the things automatically coming up in here saying that one will be removed, deleted, another will be, it's a new one where will be added in here. So are you okay with these two changes in here? Yes, I am okay. So no problem. Then what I'll do, you can come here and you can write down the commit, the comments what you want to go with in here. Say that, okay, code changed, something like that, and what I want to commit. So once you're saying the code change, once you added the things in here, now what I want to do, I want to commit my things. I want to confirm that I want to push this changes to my remote registry in here. Committing, I'm clicking on at the bottom, committing to main. So committing is done. Now what next? Committing in sense, what does it mean? It means that only like I'm going to confirm to push this kind of changes to my remote registry, but pushing is not done happen yet in here. So go back in here and refresh your page. You can still see the same old readme.md file in here. So now what I want to do, I want to push it. So for push it, you can see push origin. Origin means the place from where it got started earlier. So I want to click on push origin in here. So when you click on say push, it's waiting for the refreshing the repository. Yeah, it's gone. Now everything has been gone to my remote registry in here. If you go and refresh your page, now you will be able to see my github.txt in here, and I can see this is the demo for my GitHub desktop. And similar case again, I would like to edit my things here. Second line added in remote repos. So I'm trying to commit this. Commit changes means I'm trying to save my changes what I'm trying to in here. So this particular file contains second line in here, where locally even though you refresh in here, it will not be affected automatically. I can still see only one line in here. So how can I pull it? So go to the repository, you can see pull. So you can also have Control P, Control Shift P, or something like that, the shortcuts as well. So go ahead and click on pull. So once it's pulling your origin, pulling means the pulling from the initial point where you started. So it's trying to refresh things, is done. Now go back to my local machine again, try to refresh, and now double click on it. I can see the new code has been added or been pulled back to my local system. So whatever you have done till now, so whatever done, like cloning, adding, committing, pushing, pulling, all the things I'm trying to show using my GitHub desktop, but in a very easier manner using a kind of a user interface in here. When you try to go with git CLI, you have to run your commands to make the things happen. But if you're trying to go with your GitHub desktop, it's more easier, where you can just click on that, listen this, writing on your commands, clicking on your push up, push horizon, clicking on your commit to your main. All it's very simple, very straightforward. You can go ahead and do it in here. Similar case, I have third one, where this is the actual one, or where you can do with respect to your in the real-time perspective. So that tool is called as Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio Code tool in here. So this also is the kind of user interface only, but it's not a just to push or pull the things as you saw with respect to GitHub desktop, or with respect to my Git CLI. Apart from that, this particular code is also very much useful, where it can help you, like it kind of a platform where it can compile, I mean it can show you the errors if you have any code errors in here. So any kind of code, it can be a .NET, it can be a Python, it can be YAML scripting, whatever, any kind of things what you write down, it can identify the errors inside that. At the same time, based it can accept any kind of file, it can read the data from any kind of file system in here. So or like a spreadsheet, it can read notepad, html, json, txt, whatnot. Everything can be recognized by this particular tool in here. So it's a very highly I would say it's advanced kind of tool, where it can be useful a lot in your real-time perspective. So for that reason being, mainly we'll use this particular tool to clone the things or do whatever you want in here with respect to GitHub, as well as we also have one more repository called as Azure repos. Okay, we have a Azure repos where we can use we can do the similar things with respect to Azure repository as well, using your Visual Studio Code. So this is a common point for every kind of things in here. So you no need to download all the Git CLI, GitHub specifically for my Git CLI. So you can also do the similar thing using my Visual Studio Code as well. So this is very good tool, and so for free of cost, and you can download it and you can install it in your system again in here. So how can you do that? Go back here. You can say Visual Studio Code download. See, download Visual Studio Code. Click on the first link what you have in here. Now you can see your user installer 64-bit, or based upon people are using 32-bit OS, then go with your 32-bit in here. So click on 64-bit, start downloading things in here for you. Okay, so go ahead and download it, and again this is straightforward installation, get the things done automatically. So once your things have been downloaded using Visual Studio Code, then I'll try to perform the similar steps again to have my things done using my Visual Studio Code now. But as I told you, apart from this just cloning and pushing all the things, you can have this particular Visual Studio Code, like more options inside the things in here. It can read any kind of code, it can read any kind of .NET code, Python code, Java code, it can do anything, and it can show you the errors if any. So I'll show you sample things as well in here. So now if you see here within my same GitHub desktop, you can also an option open in your Visual Studio Code in here. So you can also create a new repository and you can open that in your Visual Studio Code in here, or within the same repository, the same repository can be opened in your Visual Studio Code as well. But I don't want to use the same thing for repository in here. I would like to create one more repository where I can go ahead and I can open it in my Visual Studio Code in here. So for that, so let me close this one for now. It's not required anymore for me. So open your Visual Studio Code. This is not required anymore. Close it. It's opening. So this is the symbol for your Visual Studio Code. Something like you said like infinity kind of stuff in here. So this is a Microsoft related tool in here, guys. Again, okay. So for you guys, when you're trying to download for the first time, so that will be showing you like this. Okay, so the first time is a simple it's a it's a startup page what you have with respect to my Visual Studio Code in here. So now what you do, I can go ahead and I can clone my repository. So before cloning the repository, two things mainly you have to understand in here. One is the first one, to see the list of the things what you have in a particular folder. Okay, if you open a folder in here, for example, I'm trying to go to my D drive training and my get or something in here. Click on OK. So this will show you what are the different things you have within the see. It can show you the different what are the things you have in your repository in here. So the list is something like which is help us to see the things. What are different folders you have, different files you have in here, everything. And one more beauty in here is like till now you try to create your things within your local machine like this in here. You right click and create things what you have in here. The other thing is like here, the good thing, you can create your own folder within your Visual Studio Code in here, or you can create a new file within my Visual Studio Code only directly in here, or you can edit the things directly in here. See, I can edit my things directly within my Visual Studio Code. So even you don't need to go to your local system again. So that's how your Visual Studio Code is so smart and advanced when compared to other things in here. So this is a kind of a list where it's trying to show you the all things what you have in the particular respect to repository. Okay, so now to push or to pull the things or to commit the things, where we have to go is like the second one. This is source controller. Source controller is a one. See here, this is the place to enter to commit. Enter to commit. And to commit the things, you have to enable your tick mark. Okay, so enter, this is the place you can enter the things here and you can tick mark in here to commit it, and after tick mark in here to push it, you can see three dots in here, click on that, push it, and also the same way to pull it as well. Okay, so now let me go ahead, let me try to create a new repository. Let me clone using my git Visual Studio Code. Now clicking on new Visual Studio demo and public, adding a new dummy file, click on create repository. So go ahead and copy the URL. Now with respect to my Visual Studio Coding, come here and you should be able to see. For you, I would like to go with my new window. Close the older one, it's not required for us anymore. So you may be seeing this as a window in here. So go to the source controller or open your list, either of the way. Either in the list level you can see clone repository, or within the source control you can see clone repository, and either of the way not a problem. Click on the this particular clone repository button in here, so you can see something open up for you where you can clone, you can write down, or you can paste your URL in here. So go ahead in this particular place, try to mention your the URL and hit on enter. So till now, whenever you're trying to clone the things, two things you have to make sure. One is where, what? One is like cloning the repository with the help of my URL. At the same time, where do you want to clone? So changing your directory before cloning the things back in here. So you saw the similar things for your GitHub desktop as well. It shows you the URL, at the same time it asks you to choose the path where you want to clone. Similarly here as well, here you don't have both together, just provide the URL, hit on enter. Now it asks you, boss, where do you want to clone it? So you have to choose the path now. So D drive, training, my gate, and select my repository location. So it started cloned in your, sorry, done, very good. So now would you like to open the clone repository? I want to open a new window, and again I'm closing my older window, is not required anymore. See now my new window has been opened up, and within my the repository name I can go ahead in here, go back to gate, I can see my Visual Studio demo folder. Inside there readme, inside my readme I can see the same old stuff what I have in here. The same thing I can see within my Visual Studio Code inside this readme.md, and I can see Visual Studio Code in here. Okay, so now what I want, so I can either add the things, my cloning part is done. Now I can either add my things within my within my local machine in here, or you can also do the changes from your Visual Studio Code as well. So for now I'm trying to delete this back again and right click and trying to add a sample file saying that visual.txt in here, and inside my visual.txt I'm writing that this is the sample code for Visual Studio Code tool. Go ahead, save it and exit. So immediately this particular part will be reflected in my with respect to my Visual Studio Code as well. So now it's saying that I need to update something in here. This has to be is untracked. I have to update this one. So when will be coming under track in here? Only when you are trying to commit it. So now this is a new thing coming up in here. At the same time, I would like to add my things in here. So I would like to have my own file in here. Click on file in here. See, this is the file you are trying to add from your Visual Studio Code in here. So I'm trying to say something, Visual Studio sample.txt. See, when I say .txt or by default, you can see something like lines in here. So this is for your txt file in here. Suppose I say JSON. See, we know that JSON format, it contains curly brackets open and close. We saw in your ARM templates in here. Similarly, if I say that it's a HTML, so you can see with the less than greater than symbols in here. So generally, HTML code contains less than greater than symbols, right? And suppose if I say that XLS, so show you the Excel sheet kind of symbol in here. Or simply if I say that YAML scripts which are going to come in future, say this is a symbol for my YAML what I have in here. So whatever you write down here, the extension based upon that, it will go and it will try to show you the things, the kind of symbol within here. So it can recognize all kind of coding kind of things in here. So by default it's .txt, and you can put this one in here. So this is my Visual Studio Code. This is sample.txt file in here, and you can add. So this is this is the sample from VS Code tool, something like this. Now I want to save it, right? How can you save it? Simple, as usual, Control S, or go to the file and say save it. That's it. So now I can create my files in here. I can create my, also I can create my folder. So see here, click on your again. Now you can see folder. Click on folder and you can say that sample underscore folder in here. So within underscore sample folder, I can see I'm able to expand a folder. There's nothing there in my folder as of now. So I'm trying to create a file under my sample folder in here. Sample folder file. So it's a sample folder file in here, and you can simply what is the same thing, sample folder file content, for example. Go ahead and say Control S. So now whatever you have done, see everything, even you can see within my local machine as well. See, I can see my new page, new file has been added. At the same time, folder is there. Within my folder also, I can see my, I think it will provide my extension .txt. Yeah, now I can see my file name. Inside this one, whatever you mentioned with the VS Studio code level tool in here, I can see that within my local folder as well. So both the either of the way the things will be in sync for sure. So whatever you do in here, that will be reflected in my Visual Studio code in here, and whatever things you create in here, automatically that will be reflected in my local machine in here, because both are in sync now. So what next? As usual, after adding the file, what I want to do, I want to commit it, and later on I want to push it. So to committing, what I'll do, go to my source controller. So it's saying that this will be deleted, all other three will be updated, or it will be sent to my remote machine. Do you want to okay with this one? Yes. Code changed. I'm okay with this particular part. It's just a committing in here. You haven't been committed yet. This is just trying to provide you the comments. So how can I commit? By enabling my tick mark in here. Just click on my tick mark. It says that do you want to do you want to save all the changes and directly put them? Yes. See, you can see the blue line going on. So wait until it's completed. Now this is what you're trying to commit it. That's it. You haven't pushed it. To go back in here, when I refresh my page, if you see here, I will see my old file again, readme.file, and within that I can see my Visual Studio Code in demo in here. But how can I push my things? So three dots you have in here, click on this and say push. So again, you can see a line moving on, a blue line, just like kind of running in things happening internally. Yes, now things have been pushed in now. Go back, refresh. Oh my God. Yeah, see, I can see my visual.txt in here. I go to code back in here. I can see VS sample code in here. Similarly, go to the code. I can see my folder, and within the folder, I can see sample folder.txt in here. When you click on the file, I can see my things back in here. So whatever you have, everything has been pushed in here. So now I'm trying to make a small change in my VS sample.txt. Go to my edit button, line added in remote repos. Come down, commit the changes. Now you have a change happening in your remote machine. Now I want this happen to back to my local machine. How can you do that? Come back in here. So within my list in here, within the file, I can see only one line. Right now to pull it, go to source controller. The same three dots in here and say pull. Go to the list now. See, I can see my new line added in my remote registry in here. Similar way, I can go and refresh. I can see my things got downloaded. I mean, the content what you have in the remote registry has been pulled back again to my local machine in here. Okay. So these are the things, guys. So apart from these things, so you have lot many extensions. See here, this is the extensions you have. See, for C sharp, your Docker, your YAML. So whatever you run. So if you want to see something like for my Java, see, you can see the test runner. You can see the Spring Initiator, Java language debugger, Tomcat for Java, Java run, JavaScript. So these are like extensions. If you install this one, then your tool is capable of managing the things for you, capable of compiling the code. They will try to show you the what is it, the errors, what if you have anything in here. Similarly, if you go with my Python, so I can see a lot many things coming up in here. Okay, so Python, preview Python environment manager. So if you write, you can run your Python code in here. So all those things with respect to my Python in here. Similarly, if you want to go with your Java, okay, .NET. So you can see a .NET stuff in here. You have to install it. This is all will not come by default. So you have to install these things so that it can support your code what you're writing in here, which can compile your code, or I won't say it's compiling here, but it will try to show you errors just in case if you have any issues. Guys, can't you hear me? Hello, guys, can you hear me?
Yes, Shyam, we can.
Yes, Shyam. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a kind of extensions you have in here where you can install it so that it can be helpful for you while you're trying to write down any kind of things. So what you have in here. Okay. For example, let me go back to my source controller or to my list in here. I'm trying to add some sample dot YAML. So this one I'm trying to go bigger, and I'm trying to provide multiple spaces as a master. So let me, I'm just trying to provide you how the error will be shown in here. Okay, I'm just providing you. This is a sample YAML file, so don't worry for now. I'm just trying to. Yeah, see, so this is how it show you the, when you have any error, this is how it show you the errors in here. Okay, so something like this. If you have any issues, it will try to show you such kind of things in here. We will discuss more about YAML, but not now. Okay. But just for example, I'm trying to show you here. So I want to delete my file. Why not happen this way? Move to recycle. Just delete button, nothing more than that. Okay, guys, and this is your all about your respect to the kind of stuff what I want to go with respect to GitHub. The different ways you can pull your make the things happen with respect to your GitHub in here. So Git CLI, your GitHub desktop, and your Visual Studio Code in here. So multiple ways to do the same things when you're running your commands or using your user interfaces, either in your GitHub desktop or your Visual Studio Code in here. So in the next class, what I would like to do is so I would like to go and I would like to push some code to my GitHub repository, or I would like to create a repository. Chandra, you're not able to hear me still?
We can, Sham.
Yeah, I believe Chandra, you have some issues here. I'm trying to push to organize it only. Okay, so we'll see, guys. How can you have your? I want to whatever code I have in my GitHub. I want to pull that particular code and I want to deploy that particular code within my Azure web applications. So how can you do that particular part? So that particular concept called as your DevOps starter. So I would say this is like your introduction for your Azure DevOps. Okay, so what kind of jobs we have involved in this one, what each one will do, we'll try to discuss everything theoretically first, and then we'll try to start with your DevOps starter in here. So this is something like, having the code from your Azure GitHub and deploying that into my Azure DevOps web applications in here. So how can you do that particular part? All those things we'll see in your next classes. Okay. So try to practice, guys, the small kind of things you have in here, and try to explore even more commands with respect to, fetch or branch. So when you type in your Git, you can see more things in here. Try to explore more options again. So try to check what is the difference between all those things in here. So we cannot have all the things here. It's not specifically to my GitHub, right? So the reason being we chose the main commands what we need in here, and but try to explore more commands as well. We have a lot many commands again with respect to my GitHub and all those things. Okay, so that's it, guys, for today. So please make sure you install your respective CLIs, your GitHub desktop and Visual Studio Code, and try to make the practice part. Okay. So any questions, guys, before winding up? Okay. Okay, then we can wind up for today. We'll meet tomorrow with a new concept, DevOps starter. We'll see how it goes from there. Okay. Thank you, guys. Then have a great day ahead, and bye bye.
Yes,